What's good, y'all? It's your boy Pop.
And oh, sorry. Cut. I wasn't ready. Wait. And let me put my phone on silent. Okay. All right, now I'm ready. Okay.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Pop, owner of Pop's Podcast. And I have a very familiar face with me. Please introduce.
Hello, everyone. My name's Imani. Born and raised in the Bronx. You know, Oswego alumni.
Oh, you got the merch on?
Yes, of course I got the merch on. You gotta represent.
I never took the time to go to the Oswego store to get merch.
What? I was swagged out freshman year. I had the sweatpants, all of that. I'm kind of mad I don't have that anymore.
All right. Just explain. Like, how was your day today? How was it?
It was good. What's today? Thursday.
Today is Thursday.
Yeah, it was chill. This weather is abnormal. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not supposed to be
cold.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be 70 degrees in August. That's weird. But, you know, I got to spend some time with my puppy, answer some job applications. You know, it's that season for us teachers. We're getting back to school.
Answer some job applications. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you said you did interviews yesterday, right?
Yeah.
How was it?
You know, the girl got the job. So, I'm excited.
Wait, I thought you was interviewing.
No, yeah.
I thought you was doing the interviews.
No. Oh. I'm not hiring anybody. They let me hire, I don't know. I'll have a bunch of rebels in there.
Okay. So, is it still to be a teacher just at another school?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Why the switch?
For many reasons. Like, a lot of schools just ethically, morally don't align with my, you know, life's work and stuff like that. So I tend to part ways for that reason. Sometimes the job roles are not always like full term. When you work for charter schools and things like that, it's contracted by the school year. And yeah, those hours are long. It just wasn't giving what it was supposed to give.
Oh, okay. So speaking of teachers, do you think the salary pay should increase for teachers?
I mean, absolutely.
So what's your...
They need to be paying us like $250,000.
$250,000?
Yeah. We are responsible for educating the entire youth. I think, you know, I don't know, only a society that wants to keep people dumb, which ours does, pays teachers.
Why do you think our society wants to keep people dumb?
Well, what do you, like, where do you start? The average American is like dumb if you think about it. Look who our president is. And when you look at like the reading rates across America among adults, just America in general doesn't rank as high as it used to be in education. So when you think about a country that exploits and capitalizes on higher education and doesn't really give people the resources to obtain that level of knowledge, because it's not until you go to college that you start critically analyzing social issues and things like that, because they don't teach that in K through 12. And so when you look at it that way, it also makes education and a certain level of awareness inequitable for a certain group of people, which if you look at black and brown people, the oppressor is always going to keep the oppressed uneducated. So when you look at it that way, as well as with white people, right, they introduce race to have us distracted when realistically it's a class divide. And so they keep all of us poor and ignorant so that we're running this rat race and we're not really paying attention to what is actually going on that the 1% is doing.
It sounds like, remember that video that you sent me? It was a professor, it was during a class of 2025, I forgot what school it was, but a professor was speaking, and she said that we're disconnected for a reason where we're supposed to be focusing on a bigger picture. But damn, I forgot like what was like the main, but do you know what video I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was a commencement speech. I forget what school it was for, but she was basically talking about how there's a, like they just facilitate division to keep us divided and focused on like issues of sex, race, things like that, except for class, right? We're not focused on the class issue. And because we're so divided, feeling like my fight is the worst fight and is the most important, I think we're missing the bigger intersectionality of it all, that we all have the same oppressor, and this system of capitalism works against all of us. So even when you see men and women, young and old, like it's always a divide, religion divide, class divide, things like that. And when you focus on that, it keeps people emotional. you know?
Yeah.
When you think about race and things that people are passionate about, such as religion, people will get riled up for that and focus on the differences more than, you know, accepting differences and being like, you know what, this person's actually keeping us all oppressed. Maybe we should focus on our freedoms rather than, do I believe what you believe and do you believe what I believe?
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
But do you think we're all gonna like come together, our demographic, do you think we're all gonna come together and actually like fight that battle of being oppressed by the bigger person?
You mean white people?
Yes.
I mean, we've been doing it. It's not a matter of will we. We've been doing it. I think that people are just making excuses for it. I don't know. We often have this conversation, or I talk about these issues with people, and they're just like, it's just the way that it is. You have to play the game, blah, blah, blah. And the reality is a lot of black people have accepted the state of our civil liberties and lack thereof. And instead of fighting the system, they think it's easier to just play the game. And so there's always going to be those people. But there's people that are doing the work and they're seeing real impact. They're changing legislation. I guess it depends on what your goal is. In the great words of Coretta Scott King, freedom is never truly won. It's fought for in every generation. So every generation is going to have something to fight for. It's just, what is going to be your generation's struggle?
Okay, so you see how you said that we play the game, right? Instead of like just getting together and actually like just fighting it, we play the game. How do you feel about people of color joining the authority?
Oh, becoming police officers?
Yeah.
They're sellouts.
Okay.
It's a very short answer.
Okay. What if somebody tried to join the authority and try to like change, you know, just be like the inside man on like trying to like change the way how cops is run.
All right, y'all ready for me to fuck y'all head up?
All right.
I'm gonna look off camera at Ben, right? Because my homie over here actually was in the armed forces, so I guess I also look at it like any type of armed militia, government, law enforcement, so military, except for the Coast Guards. I fuck with the Coast Guards because they save people. You know, I don't know, like right? Yeah, sinking ships.
You could talk if you want.
Army save people too.
No, but I guess I'm saying is from my perspective, the only people that I don't see as a symbol of imperialism and oppression is the Coast Guards as far as the armed forces and law enforcement goes, because they are usually in a rescue capacity versus the military troops being used to invade Afghanistan, and law enforcement, which was created out of slave patrol. So you being a black person on slave patrol is literally an oxymoron. So I don't give a about all that. I'm trying to change the system. You can't change a system that's not broken. What's the saying? If it ain't broken, don't fix it. Yeah. It's not broken. Everybody's forgetting it's not broken. Like the police were created to protect property and get runaway slaves and bring them back. I guess I'm saying is that police, and if you look at the Bronx specifically, which has, let's really talk about it, right? Because the police department has like $11 billion budget, and crime is the highest it's ever been in New York City. So police presence does not deter crime. Resources deter crime. Poverty is linked to crime. The Bronx is annexed and exiled and is the poorest congressional district in America. Yeah. So of course the crime here is going to be that of like exponential proportions compared to Manhattan or something like that. Where, I don't know, when that is happening, there'll be shootouts happening down the block, and then there's another shootout up the block. In my neighborhood, the police are on every corner. You walk past the corner, I'll be walking my dog, they're standing on the corner texting. It's people getting shot up the block. Somebody's getting robbed on the corner, and y'all have the nerve to be in these back blocks. We pay them to do what they're doing.
What if you're doing it just for, you need a paycheck?
But you can flip burgers.
But I don't want to.
Yeah, but then you want to be a sellout.
No, I want a pension. All
right, but for the military, so boom, all right, that brings up a great conversation. But that is understandable because, as my friend and I will say, a lot of people will join those types of roles out of survival, right? Because respectfully, and why is that? That always comes back to the main question.
There's no other thing to go.
Capitalism, right? If we lived in a socialist society, we would not have to go join these jobs like law enforcement, join the Navy, the military for a pension, housing, and basic fucking human rights. So they dangle that shit over us like a carrot because a lot of black people join law enforcement and the military for the pension and the retirement, where when white people join that shit, it's usually like, oh, I'm 6th generation cop. They're patriots. You know what I'm saying? But respectfully, there's studies that showed the army allowed black people to join the army to see if they could send you overseas and you kill another black person. And they showed that they would. We would go to Africa and gun down an African.
Dang,
I'm telling you, you can look it up. Look it up. Look it up. It's a social experiment. Will they kill people that look like them? Yes. Will they incarcerate people that look like them? Yes. Will they brutalize people that look like them? Yes. Right? And whole time, the way I feel is the people that are in those roles, they're trying to prove so bad that I'm a good nigga. Not you, but like people in authority, because military, I don't think you can't go out into society and influence your authority the way law enforcement can. Law enforcement, on duty, off duty, they very much walk around like they're the sheriff of the town. And when we neglect to address, right, it's a valid reason. I want it to meet ends, like an ends, what's it called? Trying to make it ends, cut this out. Yeah, there we go. But at the same time, we have to talk about why is it designed that way. I feel like we often, too many, and I curse them out all the time, too many officers, it's just a job, it's just a job. Bitch, you could have worked at Amazon. You could have worked, no, we're boycotting Jeff Bezos, but you could have worked anywhere and made similar money. Maybe not with their credentials, right? Because the certain, no shade, no tea, you can join a lot of these civil servant jobs and become a correctional officer, test in, and not necessarily need a college degree. So maybe it is, and that's what I'm saying is the vulnerability. They know that our population maybe doesn't go to college at certain rates. So let me put the Army Recruit Center. There's not Army Recruit Centers in fucking Beverly Hills, but there's one on 3rd Avenue. There's one in the Bronx, there's one in Harlem, there's one in Brooklyn. So but what I'm saying is they deprive us of basic human services that we would get in a socialist society, and then say, I'll pay you $100,000 to lock up some people that look like you, but you want to get a retirement plan. It makes us promote individualism over community.
Yeah. It sounds like you know how so I watched a movie when slavery started, Africans were capturing Africans for the whites. That's what I've seen. No. That's not what happened?
No. I hate that narrative. Aren't you African?
I am.
So what you mean I heard? Who told you that?
No,
Your parents?
I'm going based off movies though.
No, that's not credible. We're not citing movies as evidence. I will say as an anthropologist, I haven't read the site the articles specifically, but Arabs sold us into slavery, and Arabs are not African. Second of all, the tribes that we might be talking about that participated in slavery, and I'm using air quotes because every, homicide, murder, war, all of those things are innate human behavior. So throughout every era, you're always going to see war and bloodshed. It is not uncommon to also have prisoners of war, right? You will see it in Aztec, Inca empires, things like that, and they used to keep those people and they lived among them as second-class citizens. It was not enslavement, and it was nothing compared to the slave trade. So when people say that, Africans sold black people into slavery, no, they had prisoners of war, and it pales in comparison to the transatlantic slave trade that lasted 400 years. You know what I'm saying? Because there's a great book called Homegoing by Ya Jasai, and she's a Nigerian writer, and she basically, it's a fictional novel that it basically traces these two girls who get separated at birth. They're like twins, and one grows up in Africa and stays in Africa. One grows up and her family lineage takes her to America. Like they're sold through slavery or whatever. And it's a great book. It's mad powerful. But in the book, basically the girl that gets sold into slavery was a princess. and she was a prisoner at the time that they took her.
Yeah.
And so it's just interesting to see the different impacts and how their stories go and come back together. But essentially, I feel like no one understands the trauma that comes with transatlantic slavery, and by saying like black people participated in it doesn't diminish the system that white people created.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing with capitalism and maybe like other black markets that you could think of, or even with poaching and animal poaching. We can condemn hunters for poaching, but not condemn the industry. So people will say, oh, black people can participate in slavery, but y'all still buying cotton. You know what I'm saying? So everybody loved cotton and denim when it was being made off of like indentured slavery, indentured servitude and slavery. But you know, we're just gonna throw in, oh, but black people participated in it. It doesn't make it right. You know, like, and they don't account for the millions and millions of black people sold and traded.
Yeah. So like, what do you, like, you as a teacher, right? What are you gonna do to your students that differentiates you from all the other teachers?
I mean, me. I'm that girl, you know? You see, I don't know, like, how many teachers is really...
No, because you said that students, there's some stuff that we should be learning.
Yeah.
So,
I
like,
mean...
what are you going to teach your students that?
Oh, well, you got to be careful, because I work for public schools, so you know.
Okay.
But, you know, we have a lot of flexibility. So, for example, I was teaching U.S. history whenever I'm teaching something, and because they're taking regents, I'm a high school teacher, so they have to take regents. So there's certain information on the regents, for the U.S. history regents in particular, that kind of oppose what we know is actual history. So for example, on their U.S. regents, they're taught that, you know, we fought the independence war to secede from Britain because of taxes.
I remember that.
But in the 1619 project, we learned that America seceded from Britain because Britain was outlawing slavery and America did not want to give up slavery. And so that's why they fought. So when I was teaching it to my 11th graders, I added that on. Like, for your regents, that's the right answer on the regents exam. But in reality,
Okay.
And so I always go on tangents, not to lecture them, but I'll bring up like podcasts or TED Talks or videos. I try to just expose them to things, ask them questions, and kind of have them wonder and talk about. But I'm very much that teacher that I'll deliver the curriculum, because this is what you need to know to play this game and beat the system. But in reality, this is what you need to know, and I try to just expose them to different authors like Toni Morrison. You know, I brought in a bunch of, it's typical for kids to read about Frederick Douglass and Malcolm X and stuff like that. So I brought in a lot of female slave narratives, because we don't hear from the women of that same time period. So Harriet Jacobs and Incidents of a Slave Girl. And you know, the book's like this thin, but when I tell you it is so powerful, I had a couple students, and they were all my 12th graders, like come back to me and say, you know, wow, miss, I didn't even know that happened, or that was so crazy. So it's just a privilege to expose that to them in high school, versus where I had to wait to go to college to learn about people like Assata Shakur and Toni Morrison and James Baldwin. And so I just I have my own personal library in my classroom, and I let them know, like, this is what I'm reading. What are you guys reading? This is why I like this author. And I let them borrow it, or, you know, encourage them to explore people that are lesser known in our culture, because everybody knows about Rosa Parks and Malcolm X, but many people don't know about the Tuskegee Airmen and stuff like that. And so even for their Black History Month project, I had them do a project where they could either do an art project, a presentation, write an essay, typical speech, or a podcast. Or a drawing. They could do some type of artwork, and it had to be on a Black person that was not well known in history, and what was their impact, and it had all this criteria. But to see the kids display it, myself, I learned a bunch of things, because just when you think you don't know it all, as teachers, we're life learners, and to give our students that assignment, sometimes not like that, but you can use them to do your own research. Like, you know, like, hey, y'all, here's an assignment. Like, I want y'all to figure out, you know, I had my kids we were reading A Raisin in the Sun. And so I made them do a project on redlining. How does redlining impact health issues, life expectancy, what college you'll go to, right? Because you can narrowed down how long you'll live based on your zip code. And so I was telling the kids that, and he was looking at me like I was crazy. I'm like, guess now it's a project. It's due next week. So, you know, I kind of like to have them think outside the box and have, you know, I asked kids for feedback, and a lot of them told me, you know, I like that you have real conversations with us about stuff that matters. It's not just about schoolwork. I need you to know how to read so you can be critical about how the man is trying to get over on you, you know?
Because a lot of teachers is not teaching that, like, especially like me growing up, under the education system, I haven't came across a teacher that is like telling me like the real. They're just telling me what I need to know. So yeah, and
Did you have black teachers?
Not a lot.
Yeah, I feel like growing up in the Bronx, especially in public school, people be shitting on public school. Stop shitting on public school. Stop shitting on public school.
I went to a charter, so
exactly. That's why you ain't have no black teachers. So this is my proof. I went to public school. I'm the proud product of public school. K through master's degree is all public school. And one thing that's amazing, and this is why you should send your kids to public school in New York, is because you must be a certified teacher to work in the DOE, right? Yeah. People that work in charter schools are not necessarily certified. They have collaborations with the government where only a certain % of their teachers have to be certified. They are for profit. That's why you have a director of operations. You know, the person in the main office that does all the administrative work is called director of operations. You don't have titles like that in schools. You have titles like that in businesses. And so when you think about that, those are all a bunch of white people founding those charter schools. They're also divesting funds from public school funding. And then if they're the ones founding the schools, they're the ones doing the hiring, who are they going to hire?
Yeah.
People that look like them. Whereas in public school, all my principals were black women. All my deans and like, you know, of course I have white teachers, but most of the staff, all my ELA teachers were black women. My second grade teacher was a black woman. I can vividly remember, I remember being in high school and being like, damn, this is my first white male teacher. I never had a white guy teacher before until I got to like teachers, 11th grade or something like that. But, and like my STEM teachers tended to be white women. But other than that, all my humanities, history teachers and stuff were black people. And so was my principal. So I never felt like, I always felt like they got me, you know? Like I could go to them about my problems, and that's literally what I did. So I also want to be that, you know, my students come and tell me all their problems, and that's how I know I'm doing something right. Because if kids don't feel safe with you, then they won't talk to you. And, you know, in charter school model, the kids don't get a full, well-rounded experience. They don't necessarily have science fairs, book fairs. We had fashion shows, all types of spoken word. And so I think people sleep on the public school dynamic, not knowing that it is mad successful, because look at all of us coming out of public school doing the damn thing. And so, yeah, don't shit on us. Because
I can tell, like, just even by the skin color, the kids will be more comfortable with you and more related. And you're, like, they will see you as more relatable as well. Because, one, it's your skin color is similar. And
you gotta, I wish Ben was on here. Ben is the most he's the most unconventional teacher. What was that? He would, so he would walk into class, because he was teaching computer science. And the kids would just, you know, they have no respect. That was a charter school he was working at. They have no respect. So Ben would just come in and just start tweaking. But, you know, they think we're all old. So he'd just start packing up his stuff. Like, you know what? It's time for me to go. They'd be like, what you talking about, Mr. Fields? Like, what's going on? And just kind of, I also use their lingo. Or I'd be like, clock it. Or, you know, little things you say when you use their lingo. They're like, oh, she knows what we're talking about. Or, you know.
Nah, they be thinking you're so old when you're not that far from them.
But when you've only lived 15 years, I guess 30 does seem old as shit. They're like, you're old, miss. You almost 30. I'm like, chill.
Well, I usually ask them how old their parents are. They were like, how's your mom? Oh, she's 32. And I'll be like, and then they go, oh.
Yeah, do the math. The kids tell me doing the math.
I mean, like, you guys, if you're 15, do you know that when you're 20, 35, I'll be this age, and I'm like, think about it. I'm gonna see you in the street.
Yeah, you gonna be in the spot.
I'm gonna see. We see them all the time, so it's funny. We see them and they be like, you You outside?
But and that's the beautiful thing about being teachers from the community who look like them, because they see us. Like, I bumped into one of my students doing community service, and he was like, Miss Imani, and they like, you know, they show us mad love, so I gave him a hug, but I'll see them on the train. Yeah. Or I remember on Valentine's Day, I was on the train, and this is a school I quit, that school we was working at, because they were ghetto, and we weren't teaching, we were babysitting. So I was like, I ain't got time for this. And so I saw the kids on the train, and it was like 5 of them, and they were all, it was Valentine's Day, so they had all the balloons. They're like, why you left us? That lady don't know what she's doing. I'm like, I love y'all know. And it's interesting because you always feel like, I will feel bad leaving or something like that. Thankfully, they're not young. Like, little kids will cry if you tell them you're leaving the school. But the older kids, they seem to understand, like, yeah, this school's ghetto. They're disservicing us. The teens are pretty aware that, not for nothing, as adults, we're kind of fucking them over by actually not raising them, parenting them, mentoring them, all these things. And I actually look to be a mentor. So I keep those relationships with the students that I really fuck with. And, you know.
They're so aware that they'll tell you, they'll be like, well, I'm let you know, mister, the other teacher was here for 2 months.
Yeah, they tell you all the tea.
Yeah, mister. That teacher was here for 2 months, so just letting you know. Or
my other student, I live in the neighborhood. I had quit this job, so I lived in the neighborhood, and I was walking by, and mind you, one of my students was in the funny thing, she wasn't even my student. I didn't teach her, but my co-teacher had taught a different class. Like, she taught them AP US history, and I would be in the back of the classroom. But all the kids fuck with me, so they would come to me in the morning like, hey miss, like when we came back from winter break, like, look, I just got my first Louis bag. And I was like, ow, okay. So I see her in the street, and she's mad loud on the phone. And so I'm crossing the street, I'm like, yeah, that's right, And so she turned around like, Miss Imani. And we're catching up, and I'm like, I live around the corner. I was walking my dog. And so she was telling me the tea, like, oh, you know, after you left, like, Miss so-and-so was talking about you and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's fine, because she's cockeyed. So she trying to be down with y'all like bad, y'all, bad. I don't want to talk about people, but don't talk about me, and I wouldn't have to talk about how you so cockeyed.
I'm not gonna lie, when I was younger, I would sometimes forget that teachers are human too.
Yes, because your teachers were white, and when you see them outside.
It's so...
You would never see a teacher walking around in the neighborhood.
Yeah, like...
You might see the dean or somebody, but you wouldn't see one of your teachers.
Because what did they look like? What did our teachers look like?
So they didn't live in the neighborhood.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is when our teachers did look like us, they were very much from our community. Right. Like before Brown v. Board, there was about 80,000 black teachers nationwide, and people reported saying it felt like community, because even my ELA teacher, she grew up with my aunt in the projects. So when she figured out who that was my aunt, she was like, oh, I'm on your ass. Like, you act up, I'm telling your aunt, like, you know? And so that kind of community allows you to gather the youth better because there's more accountability.
Yeah,
where
that makes sense.
As a black educator, there's definitely ways in which the youth will act around my white coworkers that they would never try with me, or vice versa, or they seek to be coddled around them, where, you know, I had a student be like, I didn't do my homework because I was babysitting, I had to help my siblings get ready, blah, blah, blah. I lived that life. What's your excuse? You need time to do it in school? Like, I'll give you time to do it in class. You could get an extension, but all this, I'm not doing it. Like, I was an older sister, my mother was a single mother, niggas' lights been off, all of that. So we not doing this, and I still graduated with honors. So we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Granted, I'm different, but it's still like having that high expectation for our youth versus just being like, you know what, if you just graduate high school, I'm happy. That is a milestone and achievement, but I wish we stopped making that the bare minimum.
A lot of people downplay it too.
Yeah, because